Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I hope you all are having a good day so far. This first section that we need to review is on 5.1. Let me write it up here. It was 5.1, evaluate exponential expressions. We only covered the first objective. So before we go into evaluating expressions, let's go ahead and go over some definitions. First of all, what's exponential notation? Well, exponential notation, an example is like 2 raised to the power of 3. In this case, it's a shorthand notation for repeated multiplication of the same factor. So what does that actually mean in English? Well, that means that it's not 2 times 3. It's not 2 times 3 equals 6. It's 2 times 2 times 2 3 times. And what that is that means that 2 is the base. And this little 3 up on the top is the exponent. Okay. Now, base would be the repeated number. Or factor. Remember, factor is just a number that's multiplied. So we say base is the repeated number or factor. And then the exponent, which is in this example is the 3, is the number of times the base. Let me write it in purple so it matches. The base is multiplied or repeated. Okay. So like I said, that means that we repeat 2 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2. Another thing that we need to make note is if a number or variable has no exponent, the exponent is understood at 1. So an example would be like 3 raised to the power of 1. Or let's say, let me write it this way. Let's say we had the number 3. That's the same as 3 times 1 because it's 3 multiplied by itself 1 time. So it's just 3. Now the next thing we need to look at is evaluate. What does evaluate mean? Okay, evaluate means to find the value of, or in other words, we're going to kind of do math. Let's look at some examples. Evaluate means find the value of. So evaluate numbers 1 through 4. That means we're going to find the value of, or we're going to do the math. 4 to the second power means it's negative 4 2 times. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, let's look at number 2. I'm going to rewrite this with the parentheses so I can make sure I get it right. Okay, so it's 1/2 all raised to the power of 4. It didn't come out when I copied it out. So this would look like 1 raised to the 4th power divided by 2, but it's really 1/2 to the 4th power. And what that is, well, it's 1/2 times itself 4 times. And when we multiply fractions, we multiply all the numerators. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And then we multiply all the denominators. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Don't let fractions and decimals get you confused. We're going to do the same thing. 0.5 times itself 3 times. 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. Times 5 more is 0.125. If you need to, you can use a calculator for these. Okay. Now this one, number 4, pay attention. It's 2 times 3 to the power of 2. We always have to do the exponents first. Okay. We cannot do 2 times 3, which is 6, and then raise to the power of 2. It is not that. We cannot do that. It's not allowed. We have to do the 3 to the power of 2 first. So we have 2 times 3 times 3, which is 2 times 9, which is 18. Okay. If you'll have questions, let me know. But this should refresh your memory. You've already seen these notes before. Did I write that already? Evaluate. I did that twice. Okay. Now let's take a look at this example number 8. Evaluate the expression using the given replacement value. So when we say evaluate for these, what we're going to do is we're going to substitute that -2 into for z. So I have 2. I'm going to substitute the -2. Remember, it's raised to the 4th power, and all divided by 5. So that's 2 times -2, 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's all divided by 5. I'm going to rewrite it down here. So remember, we got to keep track of our signs. So positive, let me do it this way. Positive 2 and -2 is -4. -4 times -2 is positive 8. Positive 8 times -2 is -16. And then -16 times -2 is positive 32. So see how I got that? All divided by 5. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. 16. I guess that's an odd fraction, but we can't simplify that or reduce that. Did I do that right? Let me double check the answer here. 2 times 2. Yeah, 2 to the 4th power is 16. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. Times 2 is 32. Positive, negative, positive, positive. Okay. So that's it for this little section, okay? The next slides we're going to cover, for review polynomials.